Hello students, welcome to CMI's online classes, and this video is for class 6, chapter number 10, measurement of distance and motion. So in our first two videos we talked about measurement of length or distance. Then we talked about different types of motion, what do you mean by rest, what do you mean by motion, and a few types of motion. And in this part we will continue with other types of motion. Okay, so as we have discussed already, different types of motion. We have a translatory motion, again we have a revision here, rotatory motion, we have a rolling motion, we have periodic motion, we have oscillatory motion, and we have vibratory motion. So in our previous video we talked about the translatory motion and different types of translatory motion, like linear motion, circular motion. Okay, now today in this video we will talk about other types of motion, citing various examples. Okay, so let's start with random motion. What do you mean by random motion? So the term random itself denotes randomly. Okay, no fixed. So a irregular motion of a body in which the direction is not fixed. So it's not fixed where the motion is moving. Is it moving in the right hand side or left hand side or backward or the forward? Okay, no fixed direction is there and keeps on changing with respect to time. It's called random motion. Okay, so in random motion, body is not in fixed direction. We have an example, motion of a flying bird. It doesn't have a flying insect, you can say. It doesn't have a fixed motion. Sometimes it moves towards the left, sometimes it moves towards the right, sometimes it moves towards front. Okay, then we have motion of a players. Okay, we have a figure of hockey player here, so we will discuss about that. Okay, sometimes it's bent, sometimes the bent. Okay, the motion are random. Okay, we have other, we can take an example of cricket player also, and then football player also. Even movement of an ant is not regular. They can move in any direction where they are, where they can find a source of food. Okay, so the motion in which there is no fixed direction and keeps on changing with respect to time is called random motion. Okay, then we have rotatory motion. As we talked about circular motion, it is similar. Okay, but we have included it in another type of motion. So let's have a look. So when a body undergoes translatory motion in such a way that its part covers different distance in a given time, it is said to have rotatory motion. Means it rotates around like circular. Okay, so it takes certain time. Some takes a great time, means more time. Some takes less time. Some may differ with others. Okay, so example we have rotation of the earth on its axis. Okay, it is also a circular motion, but it's also a rotatory motion. That means it rotates and it takes a certain, or it covers certain fixed time. As for example, for rotation of the earth, it takes almost 24 hours. Another example we have a spinning top, what you call lattu. Okay, it also rotates, keep on rotating when we throw it with a tray. Okay, then we have a motion of a fan blades. If we switch on the fan, it also keeps on moving and it has a certain regular speeds. The speed is uniform. So these all are examples of rotatory motion. Now let's talk about rolling motion. Okay, the motion in which a body undergoes both translatory as well as rotatory motion is called rolling motion. That means it is moving in a straight path also, as in the case of translatory motion, and it is on rotation also. Okay, so that type of motion is called rolling motion. Okay, you can take an example of a ball, a football. Okay, when we kick a football, it shows translatory motion because it travels in a straight path. Similarly, it shows rotation motion also. Another example we have motion of a bicycle wheel. It is moving along a straight path also, that is translatory or linear motion, and whereas the wheel is rotating also. Okay, so in some cases we can find a motion can be more than 2 types, or it can be more than 3 types also in some cases. Okay, so we have an example of a motion of a bicycle wheel and a football. Okay, even in a sliding what you can say inclined plane, in an inclined plane also, when you roll, okay, when you gulati marna, okay, what you can say, okay, when you do that, it is a type of rolling motion. Then let's move towards another one, that is periodic motion. Okay, so what do you mean by periodic motion? So the term period itself denotes some common thing, as for example common to you also. Okay, you have periods in school. Okay, in first period from 9 to 9:40, second from 9:40 to 10:20. So each and every period has a fixed time interval, that means 40 minutes. Okay, so in this case also we will talk the same thing. Those motion which repeats itself in a certain period of time is said to be periodic motion. So let's take a definition or know what do you mean by periodic motion. When the same motion repeats itself after equal interval of time, we call it periodic motion. That means we have a motion and that motion can be rolling or circular. Okay, but if it takes a equal interval of time, it is said to be a periodic motion. Let's have an example, and we have an example of a motion of a hands of a clock. Okay, motion of a hands of a clock. That means when it starts from 12, okay, or you can say if it starts from 8 to 8:20, when it's move, okay, when the hands move, when the second hand is moved at certain period, at a certain time, it comes to the same position. Similar is in the case with the motion of moon and the earth. Motion of moon around the earth is fixed, that is 27.5 days. Okay, that's why we can see only one half of the moon. Okay, it's a logical. Okay, it has been proved. And earth also, earth revolves around the sun. Okay, that means it also takes a fixed time, that is 365 days. It has a certain fixed equal intervals. Okay, so we have other examples also, like heartbeat in a healthy person. Okay, that means the heartbeat, it just sounds like loop toop loop toop loop toop loop toop. Okay, so that is also a periodic motion. Then we have a pendulum of a clock. It keeps on moving. It is oscillatory motion also, but it's move in a certain period. Even the motion of the needle of a sewing machine, up and down, it is periodic. Okay, and when force is applied, it moves quite fast. Okay, that is another thing. Now let's move towards another part, that is oscillatory motion. What do you mean by oscillatory motion? Oscillation, the term oscillation is defined as to and fro. Okay, so when a body moves to and fro about a fixed point, it is said to be oscillatory motion. As in case of pendulum, okay, motion of pendulum in a clock, and children playing on a swing. So here you can see there is a fixed point at the top of the student or children's. Okay, so the metal chain is fixed. Okay, then if it is moved or if it is pushed or pulled, if you pull or pulls those chain, the motion will start, and it is a type of oscillatory motion. That means to and fro, forward, backward, forward, backward, forward, backward, and that type of motion is called oscillatory motion. And same is the case with the pendulum also. It moves to and fro. It is not circular because it's not moving in a complete 360 degrees. Okay, and this oscillatory motion is a kind of periodic motion. That means it takes certain period. So oscillatory motion and periodic motion are quite same. Okay, but we have differentiated in two types of motion. Other example of oscillatory motions are same heartbeat of a healthy person. Okay, that is also oscillatory motion. Then let's move towards the last motion, that is called vibratory motion. What do you mean by vibratory motion? It is the oscillatory motion, but in oscillatory motion, the to and fro motion is slow. But if it is fast, then that type of motion is said to be vibratory motion. Let's talk about it. So sometimes the whole object doesn't show to and fro motion, but a part of it shows motion. Such a motion is called vibratory motion. That means whole part is not in a motion, but a certain part is in motion. And this motion is actually a very fast to and fro motion. As I talked, it is a type of oscillatory motion only. But in oscillatory motion, the object moves slowly from left hand side to right hand side and right hand side to again left hand side. But if that motion is fast, and that type of motion is called vibratory motion. And why we have termed it a vibratory motion? Because it vibrates, it makes some sound. So let's have an example. So all musical instruments like guitars, violin shows vibratory motion. Even sitar also you can include. So if a string is pulled, the motion is very fast. That's why it makes a sound. Okay, it vibrates. The whole guitar or the whole violin doesn't move. Only that string moves. Okay, only that string moves. It is made up of certain metals. Then we have a turning fork. It's like a fork, but it only has two, what you can say, two metals. Okay, but in fork we have three to eat noodles or some other things. Okay, so this turning fork have the same frequency, and mostly it is used to detect the loss of hearing. Okay, so these are all the examples of vibratory motion. So till now we talked about various types of motion. Okay, and some are related to each other. So let's talk about objects or actions having more than one type of motion. So number one, drawing water from well. In this case, the pulley on which rope is put has circular motion and bucket has a linear motion. Okay, that means the pulley is in circular motion. So here we can see a pulley, okay, which is in circular motion, but the bucket is in a linear motion. That means it moves from, or if we pull it, it will come up. If we lose the rope, it will go down. Okay, so it shows two types of motion, circular as well as linear. A sewing machine. Needle of the sewing machine is oscillated and the wheel rotates in circular motion. Okay, the wheel on the right hand side, it rotates in circular motion, but the needle up and down. Okay, so it is a type of linear motion. Now we will talk about other examples like motion of the earth. So many of you can get confused as is this circular motion or periodic motion, okay, or rotatory motion. Okay, so earth revolves around the sun, thus showing circular motion. So it is a circular motion. It rotates around the axis, that's so rotatory motion. Both the above motion are repeated after a fixed interval of time, as I taught. That means in rotation it takes 24 hours and in revolution it takes 365 1/4 days. So it shows periodic motion. So motion of the earth shows circular, rotatory as well as periodic motion. Then we have bicycles, as we talked. The motion, when a person rides a bicycle, the cycle and the rider shows translatory motion as a whole. Okay, they are moving in a straight path. Whereas the wheel shows circular motion. The last one, same. When a screw is screwed in the box, it shows both rectilinear and rotatory motion because it rotates and it is going straight down. So it is rectilinear motion. So this was all about motions and types of motions. Thank you.